This tutorial is going to talk about adjusting the color of your font. You definitely want to keep it something simple and that does not overcomplicate your image, so you don't want to do or use a color that's going to take away from your photo. Black and white definitely will work for anything, but something else that you can try is using colors from or that are found within your photo that you're working with now. To begin, if you want to use a color from the photo that you're working with, on the left tool panel over here, you're able to find something called an eyedropper, which is found towards the top of the tool panel. So you click on the eyedropper and you can choose a color somewhere within your image. So I'll choose a color from the pier here. And then you'll notice in my swatches that that color shows up. And if I go back and click on my text and highlight my word, I'm able to go back and click on that color swatch and hit OK, and then it will change my font to that specific color. So using simple colors that are found within your image is a great way to move the color around a little bit and emphasize your word and your text and make it really blend in well with the background. I can then use the eyedropper tool and find another color from the background, so maybe this blue color in the sky I can use for the second half of my text. Then I'll go back to my text tool and highlight it. And once you highlight your text, you're able to click back on that color swatch and hit OK, and it will change the color of your text. I'm going to hit OK again so the R changes color. Now you'll notice that it blends in too much with my background, which is something that you don't want. So another effect that you can do is add a drop shadow to help your text stand out if it blends in too much or if you want to use a color that's a little bit lighter. To add a drop shadow, if you double click on your text box that is in the layers panel off to the side of the font, and then click all the way down at the bottom where it says drop shadow. If you click on that and then move this over to the side, making sure that you have this preview box checked, you're able to see the drop shadow show up. So now the represent who you are word stands out a lot better. You can adjust the opacity, so maybe it's a little bit lighter, blends in a little more with the water. You can change the distance of the drop shadow, the spread, make it fade into the background a little bit more, or the size of your drop shadow. And when you're happy with it, you can hit OK. And then another thing while you're underneath that same effects section is you can also change or play around with some of these other settings. So maybe bevel and emboss would be an interesting one to play around with. But don't get too carried away with doing too much to your text. You still want it to be able to add to your photo instead of taking away. So you don't want it to distract, but play around with some of the different settings, see what you like and what will apply to your individual photo.